Hi, thank you for joining and your interest in our solution. My name is Jade, James Gist. We have John Rhodes, Lauren Ashley Week, and Lirong, and our solution focuses on shared spaces and on-campus housing.
So as Jade mentioned, to define our problem statement, we are focusing on-campus residence halls and the shared spaces within those residence halls, including study spaces and lounges, etc. In terms of these shared spaces, the problem we're trying to solve is how do we monitor and maintain reduced capacity within them? And when considering this problem, we have two different sets of considerations, one being public health related and one being community oriented. In terms of public health, we want to maintain social distancing and ensure sanitation processes are being followed. And in terms of community, we want to ensure residents can continue to healthily cohabitate together and benefit from the community resources they are paying for when they live in on-campus housing. And when we were defining and considering this problem statement, the way we come up with our solution, which we'll talk about in the next slide, is we held as a team a bunch of different brainstorming sessions. We considered what resources the university already has that we can maybe integrate with. And then as graduate students, we also considered different resources our undergraduate institutions had and how we could bring similar solutions to the University of Michigan.
So we have a two-pronged solution, which includes a student health navigator and a shared space capacity monitoring app. As a student health navigator, they would be advocating for the students' health and well-being while actively monitoring shared spaces and ensuring social distancing and sanitary precautions, while also supplying students with PPE products.
I will talk about the solution of the student health navigator position in more detail. So first, to advocate for students' health and well-being, they will create health campaigns, build posters, coordinate virtual health workshops and surveys, and serve as liaison between students and staff. Second, to monitor shared spaces in on-campus housing, they will monitor entry points, like those in the restaurants, and ensure social distancing and sanitation procedures, and monitor virtual queue via application. Last, to supply students with health resources to protect and empower, they will distribute and check for PPE, including masks and sanitation products, and they will also offer tampons and condoms to ensure students' sexual health benefit.
So in this slide, I'm going to go over how the SHN and the shared space capacity monitoring app would function together. In this example, the student would want to visit one of these shared spaces and study from their dorm. They would open the Michigan app. They would encounter one of the two scenarios below. In the first one, they would find that the capacity was available. And the student would put on a mask, go upstairs to study. They would encounter the student health navigator who would ensure that they're wearing a mask, provide one if they weren't wearing a mask, and provide them also with sanitation products to make sure that they clean up after their space, as you would in a gym, and remind them to keep to a 2 to 3 hour limit. In the second scenario, the student would find that these capacity had been reached. And in that scenario, instead of waiting upstairs or going back and forth, they would join a virtual queue at the time where their space was available. They would be alerted on the app. The student would put on their mask, take their study materials, and encounter the SHN and who would provide the mask, remind them to stay for a limited time to ensure that all people can use the space. And so on the next slide, this is how we visualize the app to be housed within the existing Michigan app. There'd be two new buttons visualized in orange. The shared space capacity button would take you to the in-life screen. On that screen, there would be only one addition where you could choose which housing unit or which housing residence hall you'd like to view. After the dotted line, we visualize the two new screens that would be put on the app. After you click on your residence hall, you could scroll through, choose which shared space you'd like to view. There on the next screen, on the final screen, you could see the maximum capacity of the space, the current capacity of the space, and you have the ability to join the queue. And thank you for your time.